Hello again. Now I'm going to go through our olive feed that we have for sale on Carr Nursery's website. This feed is specifically for olive trees, so it's balanced exactly for these trees so that they perform very well in our climate. We started doing this year because for the volume of olive trees that we sell and for the person who really wants to look after their olive tree in their garden. So here I've got an example of our olive tree in my own garden. And while we have only potted this up at the end of last year, it has some slow release fertilizer. I'm actually going to apply some of the specific olive feed to this to see how it performs this year, and then I can come back to you with results later on in the season. Again, if you see them, they're just like pellets. So for this size of tree, we would suggest about a fistful like this. So you can just see it there, it's a small pelleted form. And all I do is on a tree of this size, we just put a pellet around it like this, a few pellets. I will feed this twice in the season, so now we're in mid-April, and then I would look at feeding again in mid-June. As a rule, I don't like feeding plants very heavily after the longest day of the year, towards the end of June, because we just find the trees at that stage of the year are actually starting to shutting down and going into autumn season. So we try and feed more in the kind of spring leading into midsummer, and then from the middle of summer on, you leave the trees alone, unless you're going to use a high potassium feed, which is more for getting them set for the autumn. But that's another time, and I'll have that video for you later on in the season. So here I'm just going to water it in now. So after applying this, the best way is just to water it in lightly with your hose and your sprinkler or your watering can, whichever way you have it. I usually check my pots 3 times a week for water, and the easiest way of checking a pot for water is just to stick your finger in and see is it damp or not. As you can see there, it's actually quite dry under there, so that's a good indication that it needs more water. So the best thing to do now is to go back and give it another watering. What we would normally do here, you'd go on and water another plant here while this one is soaking, and then we go back and water this one again. So that's how you're giving it time to soak, and that's a real proper way of watering. We would advise it on the nursery with our team and on the growing side as well. All right, lovely, thank you.